Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Cumberland Thunder podcast. Josh and I are at it again. He has graciously fixed us some coffee. I got a little Christmas mug right here that he said would go with my shirt. If you can't see, it's a Christmas dinosaur. I figured this episode, we'll call it the Christmas episode. This is probably the only mention of Christmas we'll make. But Merry Christmas, everybody.
Merry Christmas.
Hope you're having a good one. Hope you're spending time with the people that you love. And, yeah, it's one of my favorite times of year. So, and I say that not just because I've mentioned this to you before, I think, but the reason Christmas is my favorite time of year, there is that nostalgia aspect of it. Mm-hmm. But for me, like, this is the time when charities are receiving the most donations. People are picking random names off of an angel tree to buy gifts for strangers that they've never met. They're volunteering their time. They're giving people food because there's something very, and maybe it's just purely American about us, but like we can't fathom someone having a bad Christmas. Yeah. We're like, oh, we can't have that. And I would like us to extend that all year long to we can't fathom someone having a bad life. So yeah, that's my...
Spread the selfless acts of charity and love and peace and goodwill toward men 365 days a year. My grandma used to say, every day's Christmas. And I never used to, I'd be like, that's dumb. But then I thought, it's not.
No.
It can be true if you prioritize for it to be in your life. Mm-hmm. So I'm with you, man. 100%. Great sentiment.
Carol Robertson said every day can be just like Christmas with Jesus in your heart.
Amen.
You don't have to wait till the holidays to let your Christmas start.
That's all right. That's all right.
That's some old school for you.
Oh, yeah.
We have a record over here, which we can talk about in a second. There is a story that Seth and I briefly touched on in the last podcast that I think would be a good opportunity to share because we'll both have our unique perspectives of it. The Indianapolis story of desperately searching for somewhere to eat. I realize most of our stories involve food or something like that.
We're unhealthy. You heard it here first.
As I remember, it was a Saturday night sometime back in the summer. And we were singing in Indianapolis, or we were going to sing Sunday morning. Mm-hmm. And so that Saturday night, we went ahead to the church. We set up, got our sound check taken care of, got all that done. What time was it when we were and that was also the same. That was also the same week that the air conditioner had gone out on the van.
Yes, it was.
So we were hot.
Oh.
We were miserable. Yeah.
Oh, I forgot all about that.
Doesn't that feel like years ago? That was just this summer.
Shoo, man. You guys, it was so bad. Like, my recollection is we got finished with setup and sound check in Indianapolis Separate Baptist Church at like 11 their time.
It was late.
It was too late. And I don't remember why it took us so long.
Especially considering, as I remember, it was daylight when we got there.
It may have been. I know what it took us. It took us forever because I was trying to figure out on the way up there, we stopped in E-Town, went to like 2 auto parts stores. We was trying to figure out how to get air back in the van. And you remember the one split second when on I-65 that it started working again?
We had a moment of hope.
Oh, yeah.
Like suddenly the air it was just like that. It turned cold.
Yeah, Kristen and I looked at each other and we just rolled the windows back up because we were riding with the windows down.
Yeah.
Man, it was miserable. It was so miserable.
That only lasted about 15 seconds, though.
Yeah, it wasn't
And then
long.
it turned warm again.
Yeah. And we were just like, well, thank you, Lord, for just a little bit.
Yep. But, good while it lasted.
Yeah. But it was late when we got finished with that. Excuse me. I don't know why I'm...
it's the coffee.
I guess. Excuse me, everybody. Sorry. We're raw on this podcast.
We're starting this at about 10 o'clock at night, so we're just you're going to get unfiltered, unhinged.
Oh, yeah. I'm going to be burping in the microphone and stuff. So it was late, and we got some recommendations from the pastor and the pastor's wife because they hung in there with us.
They did.
They were about our age, so it was kind of like, easier for them. So, and then they recommended some places. We went out, and in the middle of a torrential downpour, by the way.
It was storming, and that was one of those. It was one of those hot summer storms that just creeps up out of nowhere.
Oh, I loved it.
And, because it had been so hot all day, and then you walk out and it's just like almost constant illumination just from the flickering just everywhere. And
there were parts, the part of town that we were in, it was eerie in a way because some parts were really dark. But like you would see some street lights off in the distance, but where we were was like really dark, and then it'd start lightning and the whole aesthetic. I was just so there for it.
Yeah.
So we start trying to look for places, and we're not finding any. It was awful.
And keep in mind, this isn't small town America. This is Indianapolis. Not, it's not New York City, but it's one of the larger cities.
It's Indiana's only, huge metropolitan spot.
Right. I would at least it's their Lexington or Louisville. I mean, for us here in Kentucky, that's yeah. You would expect, maybe not on a Monday night or a Tuesday night, I get it, or even on the Sunday night, but on a Saturday night, I expected to find somewhere open somewhat late, or some 24-hour diner establishment, or just some form of
and
food.
This is 2021.
Right.
This isn't like we don't know when we're getting a vaccine. It's post-vaccines out.
Yeah. A lot of things at this point have happened, and a lot of businesses were open. And I guess maybe they were treating it differently there than we were, but that didn't really seem to be. It didn't really seem to be virus related. It just seemed to be that that's the way it was.
So strange. So strange. So anyways, well, the kicker for me I guess I'm trying to think of the correct phrase. Not that we weren't in Kansas anymore, but that we were just in such a weird predicament.
Yeah.
Was when we went to the Waffle House.
And we got excited because, and I think this is in the vlog, there's a moment where you hear, oh, there's a Waffle House 0.8 miles away from the church.
Yeah.
So we were headed that direction, headed to the Waffle House.
Yeah. Get there, nobody's in the parking lot.
No bueno.
And you know how sometimes you just convince yourself, give yourself false hope because you want it to be so bad?
Mm-hmm.
I remember pulling in and I was thinking, this is awesome. We're the only ones in this Waffle House. I was like, maybe. And it totally was not that. And we go to the door. I don't know if it was me and you or me.
I did not. I stayed in the van.
They had chairs blocking the front door. Like a zombie apocalypse, they had chairs blocking the front door.
I did not know this.
Yeah. I'm like, you guys really don't want us in here, do you? Or anybody.
Yeah.
You don't want the horde in there. Don't let the horde in. Don't let the zombie horde in.
I didn't know that part about the chairs.
Oh, my God. I just still get infuriated about it because it's like you just said. This isn't like Edmonton, Kentucky.
No.
Or
it's not Russell Springs, Kentucky even.
It's not even Glasgow.
No.
Not even Bowling Green. I feel like there would have been places open in Bowling Green, but but we're talking about a place that is bigger than that.
Yeah.
They've got all the good stuff there. They've got a pro NBA team. They've got a pro NFL team, as opposed to a non-professional. Anyways, they've got all the big stuff. It's a major city. And we can't find anywhere to eat. Now, granted, it was nearing the midnight hour. But even McDonald's were closing. But when I knew that we were in trouble was when we got to the Waffle House. And there were chairs in front of the door. And there was a sign up that said, you can DoorDash or you can do all the different things. Which I told everybody, I was like, we can do this. We can have it order and then just get it, or which I don't even know how he's going to get it into place.
Yeah, in my experience, I've had maybe one or two, as much as Cumberland Thunder loves them some Waffle House, I've had maybe, being generous here, 2 Waffle House experiences where I had my food within 30 minutes.
Yeah.
And I was not about to sit in the van in the rain for 30 minutes waiting on.
We were all burnt to a crisp.
Yeah.
And you know how you get when you've been just hot all day. It felt like that we had, it honestly felt like that we had been working all day, or that we had been setting up all day, or even just cleaning up a patio on the outside all day long.
Yeah. Working in a garden or digging or something.
It was one of those, it hit just right. It was one of those like 80s, 90s weekends that did not let up. And the only relief we got was in the evening. And honestly, I was so thankful to see the rain come, because I knew that we could get a little bit of that cool air from just the fan. I hoped.
Yeah.
And so everybody was burning up. Poor Abby, she was getting sick. I remember that. And
we've addressed Abby's weak stomach in general here on the podcast, so yeah, you could imagine.
Oh, and it made me sick to just know that it was happening. I felt so helpless because I couldn't help it. I couldn't fix it. Eventually, we blew a hose. I remember stopping at the. It might have been. It was before we even stopped at the AutoZone in E-Town. We were at that. What's it called? It was a truck stop of some kind. Right before you get on the interstate. And
wasn't the Hucks?
It was like a Hodgen. It was in Hodgenville.
Was it a Love's?
Maybe
or
it
a Quick
was.
Stop or
it was one of those
Trip.
small deals just before you get on the interstate.
Yeah.
And so anyways, we were there, and I think I tried dropping more Freon. Thank you, Josh.
You're welcome. I'm following.
Yeah. Tried dropping more Freon in it, and it blew the hose that was on. Oh, yeah. And it blew all the Freon out. Everything. And I was like, this is today. This is the weekend. I might as well get used to it. And I remember getting back in and telling you guys about it. And I was just like, I'm sorry. I was like, I wish I could do something, but I can't. And this is just life for the next 2 days.
And that's that's the state that we were in before we even got to the venue to set up.
Yep.
Before any of the search for food.
We're jumping back and forth a lot, so I'm sorry. Will you take us to get us out of the Waffle House now?
Well, so what I remember is, the Waffle House was a no-go. And so we were sitting there trying to figure out where to go, and we didn't see it from the Waffle House, did we? I think we were just desperately searching on the phone.
Yeah, we were looking for it.
And found out that there was an IHOP. And we thought, surely Surely.
Mm-hmm.
And so we found the IHOP. They were still open. We drove around. There were a few cars. And we walked inside. And there was already... Now, it wasn't... It was busy, but it wasn't like a packed IHOP. There were a few people in there, but it wasn't like, it wasn't Cracker Barrel at 2 o'clock on a Sunday afternoon packed.
That's right.
But
yeah.
But there were, I think, 2 families or 2 groups of people sitting in the little waiting area to be seated already. Which struck me as odd because there were several tables and places open. So we walk in, and I think we may have asked how long they'd been there. Mm-hmm. I think they'd been there maybe about 20 minutes at this point.
They've been there a little while.
And they said, they said it might be an hour before we get to sit down or before we get a table. And at this point, we finally just had succumbed to our fate.
Yeah.
We knew that there was no other... I mean, it was just going to be what it was.
Yeah. We weren't going back to the Waffle House.
No.
That was for sure.
So we sit down, and this blessing of a man, this overworked man,
underpaid,
underappreciated, I'm sure. I don't even remember his name. He had a name tag. Can't remember. But he was about our age.
Yeah.
And he came up there and he goes, how many? And we told him, and he's like, 5. It's okay. It'll be, and he goes, I think there were 2 cooks in the back, maybe 1 or 2. He said, there's 2 cooks in the back. And he said, up here, it's just me. He was the only person serving tables. He was the only person taking money. He was the only person getting people seated. It was just him.
Yep.
That was it. And they were doing, I remember they were serving people who were there, and then they were filling DoorDash orders because they were getting a lot of DoorDash orders. But they weren't taking you couldn't just call them and get a to-go order or show up and get a to-go order because a bunch of people kept showing up. And he was like, you can use DoorDash, but they've told us that's the only way they'll do it. I can't, they were already overworked as it was.
Yeah.
And there were several people I think got a little huffy with him. Yeah. And so we were just trying to be the
angels.
Yes. We wanted to be the smoothest part of his day.
Yeah.
Just like we weren't even there.
Yeah.
We got seated. We sat there probably at least 45 minutes, maybe longer.
Yeah.
And at this point, it's when we finally get our seat, it's after 1 in the morning. Mm-hmm. And so we sit down. I'm trying to even remember what we had. I don't even remember. I think I had some sort of like chicken tender thing, some basic. I do remember Seth had the cupcake pancakes or birthday cake pancakes.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it was pancakes with whipped cream, and it had some sort of flavor on it, birthday cake flavor, and what are they? Sprinkles.
Yeah, it wasn't like normal frosting, was it? It wasn't like normal syrup, if I remember correctly.
Yeah. No, maybe I think he did use sugar-free syrup. And he was like, it's okay because I'm using the sugar-free syrup, dude. But everything else was just...
Dude. Those were chock full. Those pancakes were so full of sugar.
Here's the thing. That's the only thing he ate. If I recall correctly, no meat, no protein. I don't remember any protein. Like, he didn't get any eggs. I don't think he got any meat. He just got the sugar. Seth, if you're watching, and we know that you watch these faithfully, we're worried about you. This is an intervention.
Shame.
I think he had a bite of one of my, as is usually the case, my eyes are bigger than my stomach, and then the remainder of my food gets divvied up between you and Seth. That's usually what happens. Yeah. It's usually just like a chicken tender a piece or something.
Yeah. I think I remember being full. I think I had pancakes or something, but
Forgotten part of the story.
yeah.
When we sat down, he goes, "Okay, we are out of," and he lists all the drink options.
Yeah.
And the only thing you could get was water, milk,
orange juice,
maybe, lemonade.
Maybe.
I don't think there were any soft drink like sodas, pop, soft drink,
right.
whatever you want to call it. Something was wrong with their machine.
Yeah.
So you couldn't get any of that.
Yeah.
I think I think maybe they were just out of the syrup. Like they couldn't make any.
Yeah.
And so there were about 4 drink options that he gave us. I ended up with lemonade, I think. Because not only were we thirsty, but after being so hot, not only were we hungry, but after being so hot, we were just incredibly thirsty.
Yeah.
And I just remember.
I remember getting to the hotel and was like, I don't know where I'm going to find some cash, but I'm finding some cash. Mm-hmm. And we're getting us some Dr. Pepper or something. 'Cause I just remember being parched. Mm-hmm. Even after we left there, because I'm probably the freak who ordered coffee or something with the meal, which, sue me. But I was craving like something carbonated.
Oh, yeah. I was too. I think we found a vending machine at the motel, if I'm not mistaken. And I'm trying to remember that motel.
Wasn't it what's the one we like to stay at? When they're not like $400.
Yeah. Not a Hampton. Was it a Hampton?
Hampton Inn. I think it was.
And it was it wasn't like a suite, but that one had a pull-out couch, and it was kind of separated, so we all had...
Yeah, we all stayed in the same room.
There were basically 3 beds, including the pull-out couch, so we all were able to kind of spread out. And yeah, I remember being absolutely just pure exhaustion. Mm-hmm. And we felt that a few times. That wasn't the first time we'd been there, but that was the first time we'd had to go that long.
I will say we weren't conditioned for it at the time, and still, like, if it happened, if we had to be on the road tomorrow and had a week like that or a weekend like that, I'd be feeling it for the next week after, because in 2019 we were gone all the time.
Yeah.
And we were conditioned to deal with, being gone and hard nights and long days and
sing a night and then get up and sing that morning and sing again that night and
Yep. Sometimes have them on Friday nights and have 4-date weekends. And
I would wake up on Monday and just go.
Yeah.
Because you know how you get, especially if you've really got a good audience to sing to on that last night of a several day or several concerts in a row run.
Yep.
You just push it for everything you've got till by the end there's nothing.
And on that last date, whenever it falls, whatever it is, even if it's on a Sunday morning. Maybe even worse on a Sunday morning because you don't. Mm-hmm. It just depends on when your voice wakes up. Mm-hmm. But you just whatever happens, and you just leave it all out there, off key, on key, or whatever it was, and just scream it so hard for the people. Scream for Jesus.
I was watching. I was watching a video on Facebook that the Booth brothers posted, actually. But they were talking about, of course, if you're familiar with the world of Southern Gospel and familiar with them, and if you follow any of that, you've probably seen some changes happening within the group as far as members coming and going. But they were talking, I think, Michael Booth and Jim Brady were talking about when they were going, kind of what I would consider that peak when it was Jim Brady, Ronnie Booth, and Michael Booth, the peak of their popularity.
Yeah.
And how they would have those runs where they would be gone sometimes like 11, 12 days at a time.
Mm-hmm.
And they said when they got tired and their voices were getting tired, Michael said he had a tendency to start going flat, but Ronnie had a tendency when he was tired to start singing sharp, to start things would start going up. And so then that left poor Jim Brady to decide which one he was going to follow to try to blend with.
Yeah.
And they were just talking about having to battle that, having to find the place where they would meet. And they were talking about how Ronnie would start singing behind the beat more and more and more, the more tired he would get as the night went on, and they would have to follow him to the point where they felt that they were dragging the song, and they were singing to a track, and that was the thing. They said it was a miracle that he would stay so consistently behind the beat so that it actually sounded good, but that it was that the track never got away from him. Because we have all been there, whether it be at a Sunday morning service somewhere where a dear sweet brother or sister gets up and they've got their soundtrack, and there's not, that's for a lot of people that's the only way they have to do it, and especially a lot of churches now that we go to that don't have any musicians at all.
That's right.
And we've all witnessed the moment where the soundtrack has gotten away from the person, where maybe the turnaround is shorter than they expected, or they're trying to go back and catch a word that they missed. And it's a train wreck. I mean, there's no way around it. You just got to kind of hit it head on.
Yeah.
But the impressive part they said about that was that he would just consistently, and never let it get away from him, but just stayed just behind the beat enough. Would you remember the trend? Maybe you noticed it as much as I did. And it's still kind of a thing, but about 5-10 years ago, it was really a thing with waiting in Southern gospel music, waiting until the last possible moment that a word could be sung to sing that word. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I think so.
So, for example, Joseph Habedank, in the times that I saw him when he was with the Perrys, live, would, and there was a method to it, but if you knew the song, it would stress you out.
Yeah.
Because you're just like, buddy, you got to sing that. You got to sing that word. You got to sing that word. It's coming up. It's going to get away from you. And it's
here come the horns.
Yeah. I don't know who started that. I don't know where that came from. If that's a 90s thing that kind of started to carry over, or who popularized it. But I've heard a few people do it. Again, with the Perrys, I remember when we did that concert with them, with Andrew Goldman, I remember he was singing Calvary Answers for Me. And that big loud part where the lyrics are, that is Calvary Answers for Me. The covenant, where it says, "This covenant is binding."
Oh, no, that's...
Which one is that?
Rest my case at the
Rest my
cross.
case, that's what it is. But that big bridge part where, there's all this orchestration being thrown in there, and the singers are, whoever is singing is already having to just reach for the top to get over top of everything. You've got to really cut to get over top of everything that's happening around it. And if you've got a good audience, and most people at that point are on their feet, and you're still trying to get the words across. And I just remember him singing and holding the word covenant out for almost the entire duration. It felt like the entire duration of the bridge, or the first half of it. And I just remember thinking, I know there's more words. You got to get to them sometime. They're in here. They're in here.
Yeah. I think that eventually you sing a song so many times that you're just like, I gotta spice this up somehow. Mm-hmm. It's the same every time. Mm-hmm. Not that it shouldn't be necessarily, but that's what we love about doing having live music is it's technically not the same every time. You might start a little faster, start a little slower. It just depends on the evening
and the energy of everybody there in the room and how they're feeding back to you. And I remember we just so at the 5-year celebration when we were pulling out some older stuff that we hadn't done in a long time, and we did Still Go Free. I know that we didn't really change the arrangement, but we just added a thing or two. Like there was a stop we added in the arrangement that we never really, at least not consistently, ever did before. Yeah. And that just happened in practices specifically for that concert. And now I have a hard time hearing it without it because I think, oh, well, that fits so well there. Why did we never do that? Yeah. And it's just little things like that. It's constantly evolving, constantly changing.
Yeah. And we love it. We love doing it that way. But, that's them waiting until just the very last. I know what you mean because they started doing that with Wish I Could Have Been There, too. You remember how they would, like...
Oh, yeah. And some of those, especially in that last verse.
Yeah.
Like Lazarus, the line about Lazarus, he walked right out of the grave. Mm-hmm. And then a Galilean storm. And that's a song that's full of words.
Yeah.
It's full of a lot of words. And you got to be careful. Because there's a right. I think there's a right and a wrong way to do it. Else you're going to start,
playing catch up and you can't catch up.
Yeah, the track will get away from you.
Yeah, but yeah. Oh goodness,
I haven't seen it as much lately, but I
haven't seen much live groups at all.
It's been a long time
for me.
It's been. Trying to think of the last time I saw. I think it would have had to been. I went to the Ark Encounter, I guess, when they did their 40 days and nights of gospel music. Habedank was there, and that's actually when if you've watched the Cumberland Thunder, a 5-year story, and you see Habedank in the interview, that was done in the green room at the Answers Center at the Ark Encounter, if you're curious.
Huh, so, I didn't know that.
that's where we did that.
Cool.
And so he was there, and those ladies that Eric used to travel with that recorded our live album.
Oh, High Road.
Yeah, High Road. High Road was there. That was good. I enjoyed that. I enjoyed what they were doing live. All the music live, and kind of a mix of, because they have a very bluegrass influence, but then she was playing a piano, and they kind of had a mix of, they had a drummer, and so that was nice.
Yeah.
They were there, and then Steve Hess and Southern Salvation, which is actually they are to the Ark Encounter what the Kingdom Heirs are to Dollywood, basically.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah, they're their resident artist.
Interesting. Yeah. I didn't even know they had one. Well, good for them. Yeah, so I've been meaning to go to a few different things, but I just haven't been. Yeah. And either something's come up, can't do it, or just plain old forget about it. But yeah, I wouldn't know what's trendy right now if it come up and smack me in the face. So, which I never usually do. I usually get it from you or Abby or.
I'm usually a solid year behind the trend.
Well, I know I'm about 5 years behind. But anyways.
You want to talk about this album we've got sitting over here
Sure.
staring at us?
Yeah.
You got the long arms. You reach for it.
Okay.
Show it to the people.
There it is. The Polston family. I'm away from the microphone. The Polston family. Yeah.
And this is from, is there a year on that anywhere?
Let's see.
I didn't see one.
You know, I from time to time, I hope they don't mind. They've never said that they minded. But I'll post a song off of this album. I say from time to time. I posted Well Glory off of this album. One that Miss Polston, Miss Evie Polston, used to tear the church house down.
I've heard many a story.
I have too. And it makes you want to jump in a time machine and just go back to, one of those times. But yeah, I think they recorded this maybe in the 70s.
Okay.
Local bunch. They were from Jabez, Kentucky. And Gary and Larry are still kicking, and so is Bobby Lee there. Jimby and Evie have since gone on, but we've got this album here, and they still live with us, and so.
And I'll say just personally that Gary has been a big encourager to all of us, a big encourager to me. We've seen him at some events that we do, and have had a pleasure to be on the same program with, and the quartet that he travels with now called the Noblemen. And he always hugs me, always has an encouraging word, always asks about what songs I'm writing, and if anybody loves music and loves the Lord and is doing it just for the right reasons, he is. And it means a lot. He's come along and really helped us out.
You said, talking about the music part of it, I don't know anybody that enjoys it on a stage quite like he enjoys it. And to watch him enjoy it is...
There's a joy on his face that you just know.
I mean, it's so... it's not just entertaining to watch, but you're just like... You're so with him. And he pulls you in with his stage presence. And he's a great guy. And like you said, has always been an encourager to new people. And when we were getting into the community sings, he was a big encourager then, and he was just great. And I'm talking about him like he's gone. He's not gone. He's still still singing and still traveling. And so, yeah,
he's one of those that I've watched at those community singing events that we would do, which he played a big part in. But I would watch him beforehand, sitting there, and I'd go talk to him, and I could tell, especially with the schedule that they would keep, and he preached on top of it, and he would do revivals and fill in churches and things. So I mean, he is a busy man, and I could tell he was so tired. Like I could just you'd see it, you'd know he was tired. He wasn't grumpy, he wasn't but you just know how tired he was. And then the second that the audience was there and he was singing on the stage, now he might have been pooped after it was all said and done.
Yeah.
But, I mean, he was there for it. Same energy level.
Oh, man.
Every time before. Always. Always.
And they're so fun to be around. And Larry doesn't travel and sing anymore. And I think Bobby Lee doesn't really do much traveling and singing. I think he mainly just, I think he'll play certain dates and preach on select dates. But yeah, the Polston family. The first track listed on here, it's not in order, but When Gabriel's Trumpet Sounds. That's a song that Gary wrote.
Okay.
And I posted that. The other day, and it's a barn burner. So pretty fun.
I know. Well Glory is. Well, and I noticed it says on the front featuring Well Glory.
Yep.
We need to do that. Next albums, we need to bring back that thing of featuring the hit single.
Yeah. Oh man, yeah. We should bring back some of those old things, album styles and things like that.
We almost there's a picture, the cover of the Lost All Control album. There was an alternate picture that almost ended up being the cover of that. I don't know if you remember.
I think I do remember.
And it almost
vaguely
ended up being really, really old school. Like, it looked like it belonged on the cover of a vinyl. And one of these days I'll have to pull that out.
I think we decided that we wasn't going to use it just in case we wanted to order vinyl.
To do a vinyl of it, yeah.
Yeah.
Which, if you'd be interested in the future at any time of a vinyl of our music, I'd love to see what the interest in that would be.
Yeah, for sure.
I told so I told Abby that she's with her sister at the moment, and I told her that she could be a brief call-in guest.
Okay.
So I have Hello.
Hello.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. Welcome to the podcast.
Hello.
Did you all have fun today?
Yes.
She had, for those who don't know, she was celebrating a friend's birthday today and fixed him a cake and what kind of cake was it?
He wanted an orange dreamsicle cake.
Was it okay though? He enjoyed it?
Actually, I don't like orange that much, but it was actually really good.
Okay. All right.
It tasted just like the popsicles.
Okay. So Abby is in the car, she said, with her sister Audrey. So, hello, everyone.
Hello.
All right. And then are you spending the night there?
I believe so.
Okay. It means I get to batch it tonight. All right.
Yeah, I'm just tired. It's been a long day.
Yeah.
You know how I am with sleepy driving.
Well, we've already discussed you, and we were discussing your weak stomach again earlier, briefly, as
Thank
well.
you.
So, yeah.
I want everyone to be very clear that I have a very weak stomach.
Well, thank you for supplying us with a unique moment for the podcast.
You're welcome.
All right. I'll talk to you later.
Okay.
Love
Bye.
you. Bye.
Bless her.
Special guest moment there.
Guest. Yes.
So call-in guest.
Oh, yes.
How are you doing? Better than I deserve. It's my Dave Ramsey impersonation.
Yeah. Dude, we got to talk about what happened here the other night.
Yeah.
I mean,
What happened?
we don't discuss what we're going to talk about on this podcast before we get on. We probably should, but
It makes
we
it
don't.
more interesting. It keeps the reactions genuine.
I guess so, yeah. But man, it was so cool.
It was. So I posted a picture on Facebook
And Instagram.
and Instagram. That is what we're talking about, right?
Yeah.
Okay. That's me. I was
Yeah.
like, did something big happen?
Something
and
else
I thought this had to be it. Yeah. So I posted a picture of actually the room that we're currently in, which doubles as our practice space / studio, and said that we were practicing for some things that would be coming up soon after the first of the year, and how excited we were for them. And we are excited. But for folks that don't know, our former drummer, Evan Daffrin, good friend, great player and great musician, not just a drummer, but can play everything. And he is playing with a group at the moment called Church House Worship. And they have a series of Facebook videos that they've been putting out. They've been putting out some Christmas videos here pretty regularly.
Yep.
Just different song covers of things. It's pretty acoustic driven, so Evan is playing guitar on it. These three young ladies are singing, and the video work is spectacular, I think. It's just really well made, well crafted, just kind of simple, like I said, acoustic, just stripped down versions of things.
Yeah.
And they kind of propose, which you have a little more insight on this, because I think you all talked about it first, but basically they proposed a collaboration of sorts.
Well, he asked me a long time ago, he said, if do you ever want to do something together with that, with their conglomerate of folks? And I was like, sure, just let me know whatever you want to do. And because we ain't above nobody.
That's right.
so we just, we love just getting together with people and making music and all that stuff. So anyways, didn't hear anything from it for maybe 6 months. And just a few weeks ago, he's like, can we think about doing something? And I was like, yeah, let's do it. And so it was no time. We had what song we were going to do. I won't say what it is, but
we'll let that be a surprise.
Yeah, we had what song we was going to do, and then we started talking about when we was going to rehearse it, and then finally record it. And so the other night we got together and did the rehearsal, and man, it was live.
It was really fun. I had a good time. Because it was, it's not a song. We came into it. Sometimes if you come into it with a song, especially that maybe one group does but the other doesn't, or something like that, then it's, the one starts getting frustrated at the other. But this is good because we were both learning the song together. It wasn't one that we had, the arrangement for already. So we were able to kind of feed off of each other in that regard and just work all the individual pieces out, and we played that one song for a while
for probably a good hour and a half, and just going through it over and over, which is what you have to do. But I guess I was sometimes with a song so simple it can kind of be feast or famine, and maybe you got ideas rolling in that you can do, because it was a cover. I'll say that it was a cover, and but I feel like we come out with something that will be pretty.
I was pleased.
Fun.
I was pleased with the the result we got in rehearsal, in practicing it, and when we finally actually shoot the video for it and everything, I think we'll have a pretty good thing for people to enjoy, and that'll be it'll end up on their Facebook page, and I think we'll probably put it on our YouTube channel as well, and of course share it. We'll be sharing it here on all of the social media outlets that you may be on. And I'm excited for it. I'm excited for the video shoot to happen, which will be happening soon, and then after the first of the year, be looking out for that. And you can check out on Facebook, you can check out Church House Worship. Give them a like, and you can see the videos that they've been doing on there, see the kind of thing that they do, and it's a good thing they're doing. Yeah.
And man, they just a super talented bunch of singers. Man, they were so good. but also just totally fun to be around.
Yeah, easy
That's
to
the first
work
time
with.
we met each other. Most of us.
Yeah.
Seth meets no stranger. I'm convinced.
Here's the thing. I used to think that I was the person who would go everywhere, like know somebody everywhere I went. I used to think I was that guy because it did happen sometimes. Yeah. Seth, on the other hand, is like no other. He'll, at that rehearsal, everybody starts walking in, and Seth and Kinsey look at each other and go, how do we know each other? And they were in college together, Campbellsville University. Yeah. But that's not the thing. Is that's not the first time that's happened.
No. I feel like one happened the other week that we were out somewhere.
I know there was a church. There was a church that we were playing at. Now this was early days. Seth. This was at the last date that we played with Seth before Seth became an official member.
That's right.
And we were at this church, and Seth goes, "Oh yeah, I used to come and play here for them on Sundays when I was in college. This would be where I would come, and I would play music here." And we would just go, "Oh, okay."
Okay.
We were at First Baptist, Russell Springs, and he and a young man there just knew each other.
Maybe that's where I thought it was thinking of. Yeah.
Just immediately, oh, where do I know you from?
Maybe their senior pastor now is who. Maybe. Anyways, Seth's man about town.
He is. We're talking an awful lot about him, and he's not here.
Yeah.
To defend himself. That's the way we like it.
That's the way we like it.
If you can't talk about yourself, talk about other people.
Old Seth. Seth's a good one, man. But it astounds me. Mm-hmm. How we'll just be out and, we'll walk into a church. It's like, Campbellsville? Mm-hmm. Or, marching band?
Yep. Marching band.
That's a big one.
Yeah. Abby does that sometimes. Mm-hmm. She'll know people from marching band just from high school, from competitions and things. She'll go, oh yeah, and that's
yeah. So, but man, it was live the other night. Can't wait for y'all to see it. Yeah, man,
it was a lot of fun.
It was fun.
It was fun to sink our teeth into something. Mm-hmm. Slightly, it wasn't completely out of the realm of possibility, something we would have done anyway, but it was just different enough to be, a challenge for everybody, but just simple enough to not be overwhelming.
Yeah.
We didn't bite off more than we could chew.
Yeah. I was kind of dipping into something that I hadn't really got to on the other keyboard.
That's right.
And it was a fish out of water feeling, but it was refreshing to be able to do something different.
Some good sounding stuff.
But man, well, you and Evan had those guitar solos. You know what? You'll see it after the first year, but
it was fun.
It was fun. It was fun.
It was fun. Yeah. In the picture that's posted, there's a bunch of guitars up there on the wall. Mm-hmm. We can't play all of those at once. Just to be clear, we cannot. We can't play them all at once. But we'll certainly try.
We'll try. Hey, we'll try. Give it the old college try, and it might sound like mud, but that's okay. That's okay. It's not like we're going to do it live.
How about them Cowboys?
They're the choke kings. But anyways, wow.
We should address. So at the very top, I talked about this Christmas mug that you so graciously let me borrow for the podcast. We should talk about your number one grandpa mug that you've got.
Yeah, it goes with my shirt. It's blue, and you got the red accent there. There's some famous sayings here on the back of this mug.
And you already know how we love some good sayings.
Yeah.
Like, just some good...
Yeah.
And that one's got... I guess these are things that you would be hearing a grandpa say. I guess that's the idea behind it.
Right. So, the first one is, ask your grandma. The second one is, heard it from the horse's mouth.
Mm.
The next one is, when I was your age.
Hey.
The next one is, what if the shoe were on the other foot? A rotten apple spoils the barrel.
True.
Birds of a feather flock together.
They do.
You reap what you sow.
Yeah.
I believe there's Bible in that one.
There is. A little sermon in there.
Don't put the cart before the horse.
Yeah, yeah.
That's older than dirt. Strike while the iron's hot.
You know what? That's a good one that I don't think gets used enough.
Strike while the iron's hot.
I like strike while the iron is hot. I like that one.
Yep. Caught between a rock and a hard place.
Yeah.
They couldn't hit the broadside of a barn.
My mom says that one all the time.
The fur is gonna fly.
Ah, I've heard that one, but that one's not as
prevalent, but
yeah,
I like it.
Yeah.
Cat got your tongue? You're a chip off the old block. And finally, Grandpa says, I love you. Nice.
Heartwarming ending.
Heartfelt ending there. Yeah. Yeah.
You know, before we recorded this, I was telling you about a saying that I heard just the other day. So we'll add this to our collection.
Yeah.
And it took me, and it may take you a moment. Maybe you can process this faster than I can, but I think it took us both just a minute after first hearing it to go, that's what it means. And they were talking about somebody. I've heard sayings like, well, his elevator don't go all the way to the top.
Yeah.
Or crippled too high for crutches. Mm-hmm. Or, well, he's a few fries short of a Happy Meal.
Yeah.
Or a few tacos short of a combo platter.
The engine's running, but nobody's behind the wheel.
That's right.
Yeah.
The wheels spinning, but the hamster's dead. The lights are on, but nobody's home.
Nobody's home.
Those kind of things. So I heard a new one to add to that, and it's he's about half a bubble short of being plumb, or he's about half a bubble off of being plumb.
Don't explain it. We'll just leave them with it.
Let that one marinate a while.
Yeah.
Let that one marinate a while.
We'll give you one hint. If you can't figure it out, just ask a carpenter.
Yep.
Or your grandparent if you're lucky enough to have them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you know what Grandpa will say? Ask your grandma.
Ask your grandma. That's right, boys. That's right. Yeah. Man, I tell you what. I tell you what, way too much.
Oh, I do too. I noticed from stage, I say, oh, it's not I do say here's the deal, but I say the truth of the matter. I do that a lot. The truth of the matter is,
yeah.
Or what it really comes down to is,
mm-hmm.
And what it really comes down to is it can only really come down to one thing. And so if you overuse that, it loses its specialness. So I need to work on that.
And the truth of the matter is, maybe we just don't read enough. I feel like I've heard that. Like if you feel like you've say the same things over and over and over.
I used to be a much more avid reader than I am. I'm ashamed to say I haven't completely read through a book in probably a couple of years. Like just sat down and took the time to go beginning to end. Used to, I would, reading was everything. That was my escape. And to take just a book. There's a few that I've got on my list that I know I need to read, but it's been a little while. And I don't like, and everybody keeps telling me, Abby keeps trying to convince me to do the whole Audible thing and do audiobooks. Can't do it. Can't concentrate through it. I'd rather sit and read the book as opposed to listen to an audiobook. Something about one person's voice just droning on and on. I can't do it.
See, I think I might be the opposite because I feel like I need some sort of medication to sit down and read a book,
To get you to
cover
focus.
to cover. Yeah, it's like I'll be good for like a couple pages, but sometimes it's just paragraphs, and I'll freeze, and my mind will wander.
Oh, I've done that.
And I'll snap back into it, and I'll think, what was this even about? So I have to go back and start again. I feel like if I got into like the audiobook stuff, I feel like I might actually get more.
You can do that. Like your brain can go on autopilot, and you get through, and then you get to the end of the page, and you start to turn the page, and maybe you just come to yourself, and then you start the line, and you go, wait a second, that doesn't make any sense. I don't remember any of this.
All you've done is looked at the words, and
you
haven't absorbed any of it.
Yeah.
It always irritated me. I was just...
You've been a hearer of the word.
Yeah, come on now.
Not a doer of the word.
Man.
Some of that seed landed on that stony ground.
That's right.
And some of that seed...
Yeah, that's right. Oh, goodness.
You got to till up that fallow soil.
That's right. Break up the fallow ground, brother.
What's that song? Till the Land.
Mm-hmm.
That's an old one.
That's an old one.
Till the Land. It's old Henson's number.
Yeah. It wasn't on a live album, was it?
It might have been.
Yeah, maybe.
Look it up. It's a good one. Till the Land.
Till the Land. Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
Well, we've been going a little over an hour already.
Well.
I know. Hard to believe. Time flies when you're having fun.
That's right.
Thank you again for sticking with us.
Oh, yeah.
Through all of the meanderings and ramblings. I think we've told a couple of good stories, some things that folks have been interested in. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe here on YouTube, click the bell to make sure you get notified whenever a new video gets uploaded. I actually posted, if you haven't seen it yet, the story that Seth and I told together in the last podcast. I posted the original telling of that from stage here on the YouTube channel as well. That way you can kind of see everybody's reactions, and if you're into that kind of thing. And then we will be playing next on December 31st, New Year's Eve. Starts at 7:30 Eastern, 6:30 Central, Sand Spring Baptist Church in Lawrenceburg, Kentucky. And this is not a watch night service. It doesn't go till midnight. So they're cutting it off at 10 o'clock.
That's right.
So you can get in bed at a somewhat decent hour.
Yeah.
You don't have to stay till midnight, so come out and enjoy that. Have a good time. Any words of wisdom to offer?
I don't think I have a single one.
Well, we hope everybody has a wonderful, wonderful Merry Christmas and a wonderful week. And say a prayer for Cumberland Thunder while you're thinking about it. We love all of you. We appreciate you all so much.
Yes, we do.
We feel the love that you give us, and we hope that you feel the same in return. Have a great week, everybody.
See you.